The Rift, Chapter 7, A New Hope, Part 1 by Roll Studio. Distant echoes of battle, faint crackling of fading magic, soft footsteps dragging across the blood-soaked ground. The battlefield lay in silence, broken only by the whisper of the wind, carrying the last remnants of demonic ash into the air. Alex, staggering away from where the Overlord had fallen, could barely keep himself upright. His breath came in ragged gasps, each step feeling like a monumental effort. His entire body, once filled with the fury of battle, now screamed in pain. Blood dripped from deep gashes, his armor torn and battered, barely offering any protection at this point. He felt the weight of exhaustion crush down on him, threatening to pull him into unconsciousness. His magic power, once brimming, was now completely drained. Every spell he had cast, every ounce of mana used to defeat the Overlord, leaving him nearly empty. His vision blurred as weakness coursed through his veins, his limbs trembling uncontrollably. Suddenly his knees buckled, and with a loud thud he collapsed onto the cold, blood-stained ground. His arms, no longer able to support his weight, hung limply by his sides. His entire body was a battlefield of bruises and cuts, his muscles aching as if they were tearing themselves apart from within. I can't move. His head swayed as he fought to stay conscious, but the world around him was fading fast. His thoughts scrambled, his mind a haze of pain and exhaustion. He felt as if his body was sinking into the earth itself, his strength completely leaving him. His eyes fluttered, on the verge of closing for good, but in that desperate moment, something clicked in his mind, a memory, a fleeting thought of a lifeline he had nearly forgotten. The vial, the rejuvenating potion he had taken from the werewolf earlier. His shaking hand reached out and summoned his storage window, the faint blue light flickering before his eyes. He could barely focus as his finger swiped through the items, searching for the one that could save him. The potion. I have to drink it. After what felt like an eternity, his eyes locked onto the glowing vial. His hand trembled violently as he grabbed it from his inventory, the effort of even lifting it feeling like it might be too much for his shattered body. With all the strength he had left, he uncorked the vial, the bitter smell hitting his nostrils instantly. The liquid inside was thick, dark and bitter, almost uninviting. But Alex had no choice. He raised the vial to his lips and drank deeply, forcing the potion down his throat. The taste was foul, but he didn't care. He gulped it down desperately, the thick liquid sliding down his throat like molten lead. Disgusting, but I can feel it. The effects were not immediate, but slowly, very slowly, he began to feel it. A warmth spread through his body, radiating from his core outward. The shaking in his limbs began to subside, and the pain that once racked every inch of him dulled to a more bearable throb. His muscles stopped spasming, and his vision began to clear. He could feel his magic returning as if his depleted mana pool was being filled drop by drop. His strength, once completely gone, started to return in small but noticeable increments. His breathing steadied, the fog in his mind lifting as clarity returned. It's working. I'm coming back. For several minutes, Alex just sat there, the rejuvenating potion doing its work. He closed his eyes and focused on his breathing, trying to calm his racing heart. He was still bruised and battered, but at least now he could stand. Slowly he rose to his feet, his body still sore but functional. The agony that had gripped him was now a dull ache, a shadow of the pain that had nearly knocked him out. As the light of dawn began to break over the horizon, Alex stood in the aftermath of the battle, surrounded by the ashes of hundreds of demons. His heart still pounded with adrenaline, but his mind was already focused on something else. The glowing notification hovering in front of him beckoned him to check his status. As he stood, he instinctively opened his status window. His eyes scanned his stats, checking to see how far he had come, but what he saw made his breath catch in his throat. Level 150? His heart skipped a beat as the number sank in. His level had skyrocketed so much so that for a brief moment he thought it must have been a mistake. His fingers hovered over the screen as he double-checked the numbers. That Overlord! That bastard gave me a hefty level boost. I've never jumped so high in one fight before. He stared at the number for several more seconds, unable to fully comprehend the magnitude of his new power. The realization of what this meant hit him like a sledgehammer. His strength had soared beyond anything he had experienced in this world. The Overlord's defeat had unlocked a new tier of power he hadn't even dreamed of reaching so quickly. He let out a disbelieving laugh, the sound echoing across the battlefield. Level 150. This is insane. With a thought, he opened his notification screen, the familiar interface appearing before his eyes. His eyes widened immediately as he noticed something new. Under his name, a title had appeared, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer? What's this? His curiosity piqued. He clicked on the title. In an instant, a detailed window popped up, flooding his vision with information. The title given to the first player who killed 100 demons. All main stats increased by 1,000. Bonus effect 50% additional attack and 50% additional defense when fighting demons. Alex's eyes scanned the text rapidly, his mouth slowly curling into a grin as the realization sank in. His body trembled slightly, not from fear but from sheer excitement. This is insane. A title that boosts my stats by 1,000 just for killing demons? And an extra 50% attack and defense on top of that? I'm practically invincible against demons. He couldn't help but laugh out loud, the sound echoing across the now silent battlefield. The magnitude of the reward, the sheer power behind the title was overwhelming, but that was only the beginning. Eager to see just how much stronger he had become, Alex continued checking his stats. As his gaze shifted downward, his breath caught in his throat. All of his main stats had increased, averaging by an astonishing 1,000 points. His strength 1180, vitality 1120, defense 1160, agility 1450, intelligence 1500, magic 1250, and luck 1300, all of it. Far beyond what it had been just hours before, 1,000 plus. Every stat increased by 1,000 plus. This can't be real. I've never seen a boost like this, his mind raced, piecing together the source of this tremendous growth. The title, his victory over the Overlord and all the demons he had slain, everything had culminated in this moment. It was then that something clicked in his memory. His gaze moved to the upper right corner of the screen, where a new notification was waiting. A glowing 1500 hovered next to the skill points section. His heart skipped a beat. He continues checking his stats. His power has skyrocketed. With a final glance at his screen, Alex notices something important. 1,500 skill points left to allocate. 1,500 skill points, all of this from that battle. A flood of memories rushed through his mind, faint recollections of the battles, the flash of his sword as each demon fell before him. He remembered now that every monster killed dropped an item, and with each kill his power grew. The excitement surged again, but this time with urgency. Wait, the Overlord! I didn't check the drop from the Overlord! His eyes widened as the realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. The Overlord's body, the source of unimaginable power, lay behind him. If every demon dropped loot, what kind of treasure would an Overlord leave behind? Without another second to waste, Alex quickly closed his status screen, his pulse racing. His heart pounded as he hurried across the battlefield, ashes and embers swirling around him like smoke. The air was thick with the lingering remnants of the battle, but his focus was razor sharp. I can't believe I didn't check earlier. What kind of idiot am I? That was an Overlord. There has to be something powerful. He pushed forward, his steps quickening with every stride. In the distance, the faint glow of the Overlord's fallen body beckoned him, a promise of unimaginable power waiting to be claimed. The weight of the unknown pressed heavily on his mind, but the thrill of discovery pushed him onward. The tension in the air grew thicker with each passing moment as Alex approached the spot where the Overlord had been vanquished. His pulse quickened as his eyes locked onto the faint shimmer of an item lying in the ashes. The battlefield is eerily still, a stark contrast to the chaos moments before. Demons disintegrate into ash, leaving behind shimmering trails of energy that float and vanish into the air. Alex stands in the center, his body battered, but his eyes locked onto a faint glow amidst the dust. As the ash settles, the gleam grows more distinct, illuminating the ground in a soft, radiant light. What is that? Could it be one of the Overlord's drops? As he staggers closer, his heart races. Laying atop a pile of treasures, gold coins, potions, and shimmering artifacts, is a glowing white dagger. The blade is shaped like a short, crisp sword, its edges undulating with a wave-like pattern. Its surface gleams under the morning sun, casting radiant beams like a beacon of immense power. A faint aura surrounds the weapon, giving it an otherworldly presence. Here it is. Let's see what you left behind. A divine item, could this be? With trembling hands, Alex reaches for the blade, lifting it gently from the pile. The dagger feels warm, pulsating with life. The moment he touches it, a surge of energy courses through his veins, making his tired muscles twitch with renewed vitality. He quickly casts an appraisal spell, his magic flowing effortlessly despite his exhaustion. A series of shimmering runes appear before his eyes, revealing the item's classification. His breath catches in his throat as the information becomes clear. Divine item, one of the rarest, among the rarest. As far as I can remember from the game, divine items are only third to cosmic, and the highest tier is transcendent. Alex's eyes widen with astonishment. His hand tightens around the dagger's hilt as the full details of the weapon come into view, filling his vision with glowing text. Michael. This is the flaming sword of Michael. A detailed description appears before his eyes, and Alex's heart pounds in disbelief as he reads it aloud. The sword is often called the flaming sword of Michael due to the fact that it uses a more powerful form of holy flames that can burn away even the darkest of shade. Even when it's revealed, the blade is engulfed in a holy flame so potent that by only waving it at something it can char it into fine ash. The heat of this weapon can even scorch the skies of Dayus. The only beings that can resist these flames are fellow true archangels, those who rule over gods, primordials, and outer gods. His voice trails off in shock, his mind racing to grasp the significance of what he holds. The implications of wielding a weapon of such power are staggering. Lucifer himself was able to resist these flames when facing Michael head-on, only because Lucifer's power slightly surpassed his. The blade pulses again in Alex's hand, emitting a faint heat that doesn't burn him, yet he feels its immense destructive power simmering beneath the surface. His eyes scan further down the description, noticing a section of the weapon's power that remains locked, several locked abilities. It says here that to unlock these powers I need to meet a certain level requirement. There's also a compatibility check. The wielder needs to be in sync with the sword for its full power to be unleashed. Alex's eyes narrow, his grip tightening on the hilt as he continues reading. This is insane. A weapon this powerful, locked behind such conditions. He lifts the blade higher, feeling its weight as the morning sun catches the white light emanating from the metal. The flames faintly crackle, visible to the naked eye, casting brief shadows in the ash-covered streets. I've never held anything like this before. And if I can unlock its full power, even the strongest demons won't stand a chance. He takes a deep breath, overwhelmed by the possibilities. He casts a quick glance at the pile of remaining loot at his feet, knowing that the dagger alone is a game changer. But there could still be more treasures to claim. Alex stands over the remnants of the battlefield, scanning the surrounding area with a sharp, focused gaze. His breathing slows as the adrenaline from the battle begins to fade, replaced by the calm after victory. His eyes settle on the faint glimmers of light emerging from the ashes of the Overlord's body. A small pile of items lies scattered across the ground, still shimmering with the essence of their defeated master. At first glance, most of the loot seems ordinary: gold coins, potions, and some enchanted trinkets. But amidst the clutter, something catches Alex's eye. His heart skips a beat as he spots a worn, ancient-looking book half buried in the dust. Unlike the other items, this book radiates a subtle but undeniable aura of immense power. That book, it feels different. Alex kneels beside it, careful not to disturb the other items just yet. His hands fall on a glowing book titled Book of Thales. The cover of the book is made of old, cracked leather, its edges frayed with time. Faint inscriptions in a language long forgotten are etched into its surface, glowing faintly with magic. His fingers hover over the spine, hesitant but intrigued. He feels a deep pull, as if the book is calling out to him, begging to be opened. Unable to resist, he reaches down, feeling the texture of the ancient leather under his fingertips. With a quick breath, he opens it. The moment the book is cracked open, a flash of brilliant light explodes outward, engulfing Alex in a blinding radiance. He stumbles back, but it's too late. The book's magic is already working. He feels an overwhelming surge of power coursing through his body, filling every corner of his mind and soul. What is this? The light grows brighter, almost unbearable, but then something shifts. His mind begins to expand, rapidly absorbing knowledge he didn't even know existed. Ancient spells, complex battle strategies, arcane formulas. Everything floods into his consciousness in an instant, too fast to fully comprehend. His head spins, but somehow it all makes sense. He can suddenly visualize magical blueprints, trace runes with perfect precision in his mind's eye, and decipher spells he never thought he'd understand. Every piece of magical theory he had studied before now seems elementary in comparison to the vast new understanding unfolding before him. This knowledge, it's as if I've unlocked an entire library of arcane secrets. He feels the weight of millennia of wisdom pouring into his mind, not just enhancing his magical abilities, but also broadening his tactical comprehension. He now understands the intricate balance between magic and combat, how the two can be intertwined seamlessly. His brain races, running simulations and calculations, envisioning scenarios where his newfound knowledge could shift the tides of battle. It's not just magic. It's everything. Battle strategies, historical lore, the inner workings of the gods. It's all here. The light slowly begins to fade, the surge of power dissipating as Alex's body adjusts to the newfound knowledge. He stands there, his chest rising and falling heavily as the last remnants of the magical transfer settle within him. The book, now drained of its power, crumbles to dust in his hands, leaving behind nothing but faint wisps of magic that disappear into the air. It's gone, but the knowledge, it's still with me. He touches his temples, still feeling the pulsating energy swirling inside his mind. His thoughts are clearer now, more organized. Spells that once took him minutes to cast could now be formed in mere seconds. Complex strategies that had once eluded him are now as clear as day. Alex quickly opens his status window, eager to see what impact this event had on his stats. His eyes dart across the screen, widening as he sees the change. His intelligence has skyrocketed, doubled in value from what it had been just moments before. Intelligence doubled just from reading that book. As he continues scrolling through his status, he notices another significant boost, a new passive skill, Arcane Mastery. Arcane Mastery passive skill vastly enhances understanding and application of all magical schools, reduces casting time by 50%, increases spell potency by 30%, grants the ability to cast multi-element spells. Arcane Mastery, multi-element casting. He reads the description again, his heart pounding in disbelief. Multi-element casting was something only high-tier mages could perform, and even then only after years of training. Yet now the skill is his, ready to be used at any moment. His mind races with the possibilities, the ability to cast multiple spells simultaneously, blending fire with wind or lightning with earth. It could make him unstoppable in battle. He envisions himself in future conflicts, overwhelming his enemies with complex, devastating combinations of magic. With this, I could become the strongest mage in existence. His eyes shine with determination, but beneath the excitement, a hint of unease lingers. This kind of power, it's almost too much to handle. But then he remembers the Overlord, remembers the dangers lurking in this world, and his resolve strengthens. I'll need every advantage I can get. He closes his status screen and looks back at the loot pile. His attention shifts away from the scattered gold coins and potions. They seem insignificant now, pale in comparison to the knowledge he's just gained. However, something catches his eye, a faint glimmer of light still shining amidst the debris. He steps closer, brushing away some dust to reveal a beautiful ornate pendant. The pendant is shaped like an eye, with a gemstone at its center that flickers like a flame. It immediately strikes Alex as something special. What's this? He picks up the pendant, feeling a gentle warmth radiating from it. The moment he touches it, the gem at its center pulses with energy, and a small window pops up in his field of vision. The Eye of Horus mythical item. The pendant's abilities are astonishing night vision, the ability to see invisible beings, identify curses and ailments, and a passive healing and regenerative power. Alex stares at the pendant, stunned by its abilities. He had heard of such artifacts in his game before, but this was mythical. Night vision, passive healing, regenerative healing, the ability to see the unseen, all of it packed into one small item. This pendant could save my life, over and over again. He slips the pendant around his neck, feeling a gentle warmth spread through his chest. The moment it settles against his skin, he feels its effects taking hold. His muscles relax, the fatigue from the battle ebbing away as his body begins to heal itself. I feel stronger, like I'm being rejuvenated every second. He clenches his fists, testing his strength. The aches and pains in his body are fading, replaced by a steady, growing energy. With this, I won't have to worry about long battles. I'll be able to keep going, no matter what. He grins, his confidence swelling. The combination of the Book of Thales and the Eye of Horus had not only made him more powerful, but also more resilient. Alex looks over the rest of the loot, knowing full well that these items alone could change the course of his journey. But the lingering feeling of danger nags at him. If he had gained this much power, there were undoubtedly forces even more dangerous lurking ahead. He glances up at the sky, his mind racing with thoughts of what comes next. To be continued. The Rift, Chapter 7, A New Hope, Part 2.